disclaimer at the beginning of this video, I'm going to say I might not show my face because this is a topic of my past that I'm still very sensitive on, and I just don't want to really show my face because I don't want people to think that I wasn't crying enough between scenes, or I wasn't, you know, blinking hard enough, or I didn't sigh loud enough or hard enough in between breaths, or I wasn't looking in the camera enough, or I don't look like I'm sad. I just don't want people picking apart the video and trying to analyze things to see if this is fake or not. Everything that in this video is true. Everything in this video is real. These are real accounts of things that happened to me, but it's why I created my channel. This isn't for drama. This isn't for views. This isn't for subscribers. This isn't for sympathy. I don't want it. I'm just here to tell you guys my story and why this channel exists and why I want to help people all over the world. So yeah, I'm not going to show my webcam on this. I might say something later in the video because I don't know if I'm going to edit it out or not. I might say something later in this video about me not knowing if I'm going to put my webcam in or not, but guys, I'm just not going to because I just don't want people ripping apart the face cam thing. I just don't think that everything needs to be some emotional stare at the webcam video, so I'm just going to be putting this gameplay in the background for you guys to watch. Sup Infected, how's it going? It's me, Apocalypticnick, back with another video on the channel. So, hi, how's it going? It's interesting to talk to y'all today. Sorry for the fact that I have not been uploading for a week and a half. This part of my life has probably been the most busiest and eventful than it ever has been, ever. I made a big decision in my life recently. Just a few days ago, I decided that I was going to be ETSing out of the army and that I wanted to focus more on myself. Don't know if I'm going to be leaving forever or if it's just for some time. I think that I'm just going to be taking a year to myself. You know, step back, evaluate me as a person, what I want to do with my life, focus more on my business, something I want to do, focus more on being a better artist, focus more on being better at Photoshop and YouTube. See how that goes in a year. If I can see genuine improvement, I'll stick to it. And if not, I'll go back to the army the following year. That's something that that I've more or less decided on, is that I'm going to probably go back to the military in another year or two, because I just kind of want to have a civilian life for just 1 year, because I really didn't have that. I did school for like most of my life, and then focusing on work, and then, you know, the military right as I graduated. I just wanted like 1 year to do what I want. And that's generally why I'm doing that. The reason I'm talking about the army, why I'm getting out of it, just got me thinking recently. That is a big decision I made, going into the army and deciding to do 3 years of my life for something amazing. And it's an even bigger decision to decide if I wanted to continue or take a break. And that genuinely has stuck with me for a bit. It's crazy because genuinely looking at it now, I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if I made the right decision or the right answer. That decision I made to take a year off kind of jogged some things in my memory. It made me realize that there's been a lot going on in my life. Things I've wanted to talk about on the channel that I never did. Things that I really wanted to just get off my chest and just talk about, you know. There was a lot going through my life way before I joined the army. And now that I got out, it kind of just reminded me of a lot of things I did in the past and while I was still in high school doing military stuff. And now that I'm out, it just made me like reflect a lot in my life. And it's like, huh, there's a lot that went on back then that I never really I never got to talk about. And since this year is going to be me dedicating myself more to being a better graphic designer and being a better YouTuber and just being the best YouTuber I can be, I really want to talk more about my channel and talk more about its history with you guys. I remember that I made a video way back in the day. It was like 2 years ago. I made a video called Why Do YouTube Backstory. And it was supposed to basically talk about me going through my journey of the creation of the channel and really why it was there and why it even existed. But I didn't really talk too much about that. I'm sure that you guys have known at this point that the video itself is heavily sugar-coated and that most of the stuff I've talked about is just very salted and sugar-coated and everything. Like, not a lot is being really talked about, and I was evading a lot. It was kind of hard for me to talk about the real truth of why I do this channel. I was very scared back then. I was still going through high school, and I was still going through a lot in my life. But I'm more comfortable to talk about it now. I think I've been through enough in my life, and kind of just don't care anymore what I cared about back then. Being scared of an opinion, an opposing opinion. I've realized that if people really don't want to hear what I have to say, they'll just not want to hear it, or just say what they want to say to me, and that'll be the end of it. But I want to talk to you guys about really why I do YouTube. The whole story this time. Like I said, that video is not a lie. Nothing in that video is fake. Nothing in that video is really a lie. Like I said, just I didn't talk about everything because I was a kid. I was young. I was scared. And now I'm more confident in myself to really talk about the things back then that I never got the courage to talk about. So I'll talk to you guys about it. I'm gonna have to go back a little bit before I get into the whole shabam of why this channel even existed, so let me just get into that. Growing up, I had a bit of a tough time as a kid. Kinda, you know, had a hard time, you know, coping and going into... Had a hard time really meshing with other people. I was born with ADHD. It was a very severe version of it too. Like, I could not sit still for the life of me. I could not pay attention. I was that bad. Where I'm talking, or if you were talking to me, my head would just go into, like, outer space, and I'd be thinking of, like, oh man, that new Pokemon game's coming out, and you'd be like, hey, did you hear what I said? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What did you say? And I just never would pay attention to anything. And a lot of people got the impression that something was up, and that's, you know, when I got that diagnosis happening. I also had what was also known as oppositional behavioral disorder. So it's basically like if you said up, I said down. If you said left, I said right. I still got that, I think, but it's not, like, as bad. I'm not, like, oppositional. I don't even know if that's really a disorder nowadays, or if they've named every little thing a disorder, but I don't know. That was something I had, which is basically, like, I'm extremely oppositional. So it was just like, hey, I don't listen to authority, which is kind of funny considering I did, like, 3 years of my life in the army, which is nothing but authority, and I would say I did fairly good. But yeah, because of that, being a kid, you know, everything is 20 times worse when you're a kid. It's like, severe. It's not, like, when you grow up, stuff does mellow down, you know, your body gets acclimated to what the hell you're dealing with, and obviously as a kid, like, that's when it's on, like, you know, the brick is on the gas pedal, and, like, you're going full throttle into that stuff, and obviously I had to deal with that and experiment and realize what worked and what didn't for me back then, but because of that, you know, not a lot of people were able to deal with me. I ended up not having a lot of friends growing up, and I ended up being by myself more or less than a lot of the times. I wasn't really, you know, the easy to deal with because of those things, I guess. Or I guess kids didn't know how to deal with someone with those things. I'm not too sure. Of course, like I said, you know, you grow up and you notice some things are off. Even as a kid, kids are observant. I was observant. I noticed some things were off. But I really noticed when things really took off and really were different when I entered middle school. And before middle school, the worst I had to deal with was just kids walking away from me, ignoring me, not wanting to talk to me, giving me the cold shoulder. But I think in middle school, which is kind of odd with a lot of people's stories really start in high school or middle school. I guess it's like the turning point when children become real demons and decide to torment the people they just don't like at the worst possible, way. It's weird, like, I haven't heard too many bullying stories about anything earlier. It's always middle school and high school, and I guess it's the same for me as well. My real turning point was when I hit middle school. I noticed that the way kids treated me were a lot worse. I started to become a victim of severe harassment. I don't know if I can say the B word anymore, because I know, like, YouTube's kind of cracking down on people who say that B word. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna try to not say it. I just don't want this video taken down, because I generally want it up, because I want people to know the story of why this channel exists and why I do what I do, because hopefully this story will be impactful in some way. It's not me crying for views, and it's not me, you know, asking for sympathy, likes and subs. It's just genuinely so people can get a general synopsis of why this video is being said. I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video, but obviously, like I said, I don't write anything I do down. I do everything from my heart, and I'm just trying to think as I talk. So if this sounds a little jumbly, I'll try to edit it together to the best of my ability. But anyway, like I said, I went into middle school, and I noticed, like, a lot of the worst parts of that there. You know, people were really extra nasty to me. I dealt with a lot of harassment, like severe versions of it, from not just students, but teachers as well. And I know that's a little weird thing to say, knowing that people think, like, why would a 30, 40-year-old teacher, you know, be a jerk to, like, a 13-year-old kid? But It does happen sometimes, unfortunately, and it is a case. I don't know how rare it is. I'm not going to say. I didn't do research on that topic because I'm not there to talk about the synopsis of the worldwide issue of it, but like it was an issue in my school, and me and a few other students did deal with issues like this. I also dealt with these issues of teachers not being the best of people, and because of that, because I had to deal with both sides of a coin every day, students and teachers not being the best people they can be to me, and dealing with targeted harassment every day, I started to go a little crazy. Basically, a lot of things that would happen to me is, I remember there's one time I went to class, and it was a very small room. It wasn't even much bigger than my bedroom, and my bedroom is very small, as you guys can tell. Probably like 5 feet from me, there was a teacher within like practically like arm's distance, and I'd be sitting in this group with other kids, and when I would go to the bathroom, I'd come back to see that they had went through my bag and had ripped up my papers and homework, or like drawn or graffitied all over my like stuff, vandalizing pretty much anything I owned. And I would look at the teacher and be like, "Did you see what they just did?" Half the time he would say, "No, I didn't see anything," or he'd go, "Yeah, I did." And I'm like, "So you gonna help me out and help me with these issues?" And he'd say, "What do you want me to do about it?" I dealt with things like that on a daily basis where I felt very alone and that I was kind of on my own for a lot of these issues. I did obviously do what any other kid does, is tell their family, but at the end of the day, your parents can only do so much when it comes to a faculty, because all they can do is have a meeting and say, "Cut the crap," and the teachers can go, "Sure," or "Make us." So at the end of the day, there wasn't much my family could do. I had to basically just kind of deal with these and fight my own battles, which weren't very successful. And that wasn't really the all I dealt with. Things got worse and worse over time. I remember when I used to go to class a lot that kids would grab milk from lunch, and we had that horrible, like, prison milk is what we would call it, because it just tasted horrible. I would go again. It would always happen when I was not around, because obviously I don't think they were going to want to do it while I was in front of them. So whenever I left to talk to a teacher, go to the bathroom, or whatever, I would have, like, kids pour milk in my bag, so my bags got all, like, they smelled like that horrible chocolate, strawberry, or regular fermented milk smell, and my pages and book bags would always be ruined. And I would try to talk to the teachers, thinking they would be somewhat sensible about it, like, "Hey, obviously this isn't me. I'm a victim of, targeted harassment. Like, maybe you can cut me a break." And the teachers would say, "It's not our problem. You see that's damage to school property, and you're going to owe us that money. You're going to owe us the money for the textbooks that are ruined." It's something that it's like you didn't expect like a teacher to say to you, that they would be a lot more understanding knowing what's going on. Why should I have to pay for a textbook when I wasn't the one who deliberately ruined it? I've clearly tried to keep my textbooks and papers and stuff on time, well written out, and protected, so I wouldn't owe you money. Why would I deliberately pour milk into my own bag and destroy your property to owe you money? It's obvious that I'm not doing it. And they knew I wasn't the one doing it, but they're like, "It's not our problem." My school was a big advocate for anti-bullying, for anti-harassment, and anti-abuse campaigns. We would have meetings into our gym almost every month, and we would hear people's stories about how they were harassed and bullied, and a lot of the things that they went through in their lives, and some people even talking about how it even led to them almost committing suicide. I thought if a school like this really did a lot of things and showed kids our age that it would A, help bullying in our school calm down a bit, and B, maybe the teachers would be more proactive on helping kids who are victims and of this issue. But that wasn't the case at all. They were doing it for a show. They were doing it for the sake of making their school look good, on the fact that if they showed to the outside world, "Hey, we're against this topic like everyone else," that makes them look like a good school. I don't know the reason. I just remember that we had a lot of these seminars, and it was just weird to me how a school would show that they acted like they cared, but they never did. I ended up going to the school for 2 years, but those 2 years might as well have been like 8, because every day was just consistent hell for me. I never really felt accepted anywhere. I always felt like every day was getting gradually worse. It went from my papers being ripped up, to milk being poured in my bag, to being smashed into lockers. At one point, I got tripped. A kid tripped me, and I fell down one of the 2 flights of stairs in the school, breaking my ankle. Things like that just happened, and I dealt with a lot of things that just got more and more progressively violent and worse. I remember a few incidents when milk used to be poured in my bag that I would go to the bathroom after school and try to wash my bag out with the soap that was there. And it was that horrible, like, foam soap that didn't even really clean anything anyway. So I would have to use, like, you know, pounds of soap just to get a little bit of that horrible smell out. And I remember the janitor was waiting for me outside one day. After I was done cleaning my bag out, he gave me this, like, death glare. He's like, oh, so you're the one using all the soap in the facility. And I was like, I'm sorry? And he goes, oh, yeah, you're the one using all our soap. Is that right? And I said, well, yeah, I'm just trying to clean my bag out because it smells like absolute, like, just, like, terrible. It just smells like fermented milk. And he's like, I don't care. How dare you use school property? He goes, you're there to wash your hands. 2 squirts, that's it. He goes, because of you, the things are always half empty. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't want to walk home with this, you know, fermented milk bag. I have like a 3-mile walk before I get home. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, you do this again, you're gonna owe us money for the stuff. And I'm like, So it was just things like that. Like, a lot of people really didn't take my side on the issues. Like, it was weird to me. Like, you'd think that a person realizing that, like, I don't know, if I was a janitor, I would ask a kid, like, why are you in the bathroom washing your bag? Like, is something, are you okay? Is something wrong? But that's not really whatever happened to me. I always dealt with a lot of, don't do it again, or your life will be even 20 times worse than it already is now. You'll owe us money, or you'll be punished, or we'll just give you detention for wasting school resources. Like, that was a lot of the times I had happen. These things just happened day after day after day, and I just never saw a stop to it. It just kept getting progressively worse over time, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. My bag being, you know, ripped, my papers being ripped, my bag being vandalized with, you know, liquids being poured into it, having teachers, like, you know, publicly humiliate me. You know, I would have issues where, like, I didn't understand a piece of homework, and they would, like, plant me in front of the class and be like, if y'all don't understand it, don't be like Mr. Nick here, and the whole class would laugh at me. I dealt with things like that every day, and it really affected me over a long periods of time. I'm clearly not obviously getting in massive detail here, because obviously I'm trying to go off the top of my head on everything. But maybe I'll make a second video dedicated to this whole issue in itself. Maybe you guys might want to hear it. I don't know, but basically my whole school, my life from middle school and high school wasn't the best. Most of what I'm saying right now is from middle school, but it was more or less the same when I went to high school too. Basically, when I was going through these things in middle school, I ended up realizing that I didn't really have, like, the best time. I remember during that Christmas, we were getting break, and I was at the lowest of my low at that point. We were just supposed to celebrate the new year of our final year in middle school, because after that year, we had one more year at middle school, and then we were on to high school. And we were getting ready for our new high school, where we would be allowed into a technical school or a regular high school. And I remember our first year in the middle school, I applied for the technical school, and and I got a rejection letter because I just wasn't qualified to be in the technical school. So that was kind of the last straw for me that year, because my first year in middle school, near the end of the year, I was nice enough to meet these 3 people I knew, who later became my best friends, that I still am well acquainted with and know to this day. But they all applied to the same technical school I did, and all of them got accepted except me. So I felt extremely alone again. A lot of them didn't know about my issue with the bullying. I was too scared to tell them, obviously, because I didn't want to tell them my huge ass problems and obviously lose the people that I thought... lose the people I just became close with for the first time in my life. During all this bullying and during all this harassment and everything, it just was becoming too much. I couldn't stand being, you know, harassed and tormented, having my bag destroyed every day, having my papers being covered in milk, and the teachers refusing to accept it because why would they? It's just a destroyed piece of paper. They can't honestly grade that at that point. It just was so much to deal with. We had Christmas break coming up, and that time I had decided that I was going to kill myself. 13 years old, and I had decided for the first time in my life that I couldn't live to see the next day. I remember I came back. It was our last day of school before break came, and I came home that day just in tears. I couldn't handle it anymore. I didn't care that I was on vacation now. I didn't care that Christmas was coming up. I didn't care. I knew in my head, I didn't think of it like, well, I can enjoy this break before I have to go back. I just looked at it like, it's only 1 week before the inevitable happens again, and I have to go back to that hell. I ended up going up to my room, and I pulled out a survival knife that I got in Boy Scouts, and I was going to slit my throat open. I wanted to do it with one of my favorite songs playing in the background because I was too scared, I guess, to do it in silence or something. I have no idea. So I waited for the whole song to complete. And as the song finished, it was playing one more thing after the song, which was a video I had on, because I listened to all my songs on YouTube. After the song had finished, the next video had come up, and it was a video of Markiplier. It was around 2013. It was during that time, and he was still playing Prop Hunt and Trouble in Terroriston Town, and those were my two favorite series of his back in the day. And I remember the video of him playing Prop Hunt. It was one of his Prop Hunt videos. It was the one where he was getting stuck into bigger objects. It's funny. It was a funny video. When the video came on, I paused for a second and was able to focus on that instead of the initial thought I had that day of putting myself away. I ended up putting the knife down, clearing my tears, and I ended up that night just binge watching his videos. By the end of the night, I felt so much better. I felt like a person again. I felt like I mattered, and I felt happy. This person who didn't even know who I was managed to make me feel amazing. Managed to make me feel like I mattered. I thought it was crazy. I genuinely thought I was absolutely insane and that there's no way that anyone else feels this way. I thought, okay, this is me just overreacting. For me to say to anybody, hey, this guy on the internet that doesn't know me and I barely know him, just played a few video games and now I feel so much better about my life and I can carry on with my day instead of finishing what I was going to start that day. I thought everyone would look at me like I had like 30 heads on. When I went to one of the conventions a year later, my brother bought me tickets to go to a Comic-Con. There were other people that were fans of his channel as well and talked a bit about their troubled pasts. And they weren't that much dissimilar to mine. I realized that I was not the only one who felt this way, and I was not the only one he had saved and given a light to, you know, given a second chance at life to, and showed them that they mattered and showed them that he cared. Because of that initial time of 2013, I felt happy, and I was able to finally focus on something that wasn't hurting myself. And I was able to look forward to something every day after school that wasn't crying in my pillow. And when I did watch one video, I managed to be able to go about my day and look forward to the next one. Because of that, I got inspired. I wanted to help people feel the same way I felt. Happy. I wanted to do the thing that Mark was able to help me feel. And I wanted to do the same thing Mark was doing on the same scale. I wanted to help millions of people. I didn't think people should be coming home from school or from work crying, debating if they need to die, and debating if they needed to decide if they needed to live. I wanted to stop someone who had a knife or a gun to their head, like Mark did for me. I wanted to help millions of people every day. And that's why I wanted to become a YouTuber. I wanted to be a hero with headphones. I wanted to be a person that someone could call their friend, and we could just goof around and just have a good time together playing a game. So I got inspired. But back then I was only 13. I didn't have money for anything. I didn't have anything. I managed to convince my mother at the time to get me a laptop for high school, because high school was coming up, and I managed to find an opening in that technical school I didn't get accepted in. I managed to find an opening later that freshman year, and I managed to finally get into it and go to school with my friends. I managed to get a laptop from my mother to help me out with their technical school so I could get better at art, because I was going to apply for the graphic design program there, which is what I did. And for the first whole year of freshman year, and my last year of middle school, and first full year of freshman year, so for 2 years straight, I did nothing but plan how to be a YouTuber. I decided that I wanted to do that so badly and help millions and millions of people. I wanted to think of a name, and I just could not think of one. I kept thinking of the typical names a kid thinks of, like Dragon Skater 89 or Hip Hop, Drip Drop 123 or whatever, just crazy names. And I really admired, you know, the word Markiplier, because it's Mark's name, and then the word Iplier, Cinnamon Toast, and then Ken, the word Ken, his name, Jack, and then the word Septic. I really wanted my name to be in my channel name, but I had no idea what the hell I was going to choose. I think at the time I was watching this zombie show, or this video on YouTube, or maybe it was even a game. I truly can't remember anymore. But I think, like, if you got a certain amount of kills in this game, or, like, if there was a certain bonus round in the show, I could have sworn someone would scream the word Apocalyptic. And I just really liked that word, because it was a scream, like, Apocalyptic! And eventually I just heard my name in the back of my head, like, Nick. And I'm like, oh, wait, that actually works together. That works well, Apocalypticnick. And I'm like, that's gonna be my name. That will be my name. And that's what I decided to make my name, was Apocalypticnick, and I fell in love with that name ever since. It's one of my favorite names, and probably the most creative thing I've ever thought about. So that sophomore year, I decided to actually implement it, because I had that laptop, and I decided to do my first series on a game. And I didn't really know what to do at the time. In 2016, that was the best year of YouTube ever, as many people may know. Also during that time, that was the rise of anime creators, if I remember correctly. I remember Noble, as many people might know him as Noble, or Lost Paws. It was back before he became the 2 million subscriber, or maybe he's got more now at this point, giant that he is. And he was doing dating sims, and he made them really fun. And I thought, damn, I like anime, and I thought I'll try to do that. But I didn't want my channel to be just an anime channel. So I tried to do just a little bit of everything. Gaming, rage games, I tried to be funny, but obviously I wasn't the best at it, because everybody, when they first start on YouTube, is a little bad. But it's awesome because we can look back at those memories and laugh. I ended up deciding that I was just going to go gaming, because I dropped the anime content. And I didn't know what my logo was going to be, but because my audio was so bad at the time, which it is even bad now, but I've been slowly but surely trying to figure out how to get it better, so hopefully this video is good too. But my audio was so bad at the time that my mother said anyone watching this would get bleeding eardrums, and I thought that was just amazing. And I thought, wow, you know what? I think that's going to be the video. That's going to be the logo. It's going to be a skull with bleeding eardrums, and you guys know how that one worked out. You know, I had my cousin draw me a logo, and then I had it redesigned by a person who did spray paint, and then I had it tattooed on me, and now I've redesigned this logo like 50 times over now. I love this logo so much, though. The origin of it is amazing. But I made this channel because I wanted to do what Mark did for me. Mark unknowingly saved my life and gave me purpose and inspired me to do something at the time that I still hold dear to my heart today. People say you change over the past couple of years, but I genuinely think I haven't changed that much. I still hold the same views I do when I was 13 years old, and I'm 21 now. I still want to help millions of people every day. I want to help people with their problems. I want people, for God forbid, if they're ever holding a knife or a gun to their head or throat, that maybe my video might save their life and encourage them to put the knife down, put the gun away, and make them continue. Because I think everyone that's watching this video is purely talented and can make amazing things and can do amazing things that will change the world. I truly do believe that. I think that people just need the right encouragement and a good person to talk to, and that's why I try to make the most friendliest, welcoming community I can possibly make, so people feel welcome here and feel like they have a place to be. Because every single time I release a video, I think that I've made a difference in someone's life, and that I might have just saved someone and inspired them to keep going. And then whenever I don't make a video, I truly do think that maybe there was someone that needed that day. Someone who needed me to be there and goof around and just tell them, hey man, it's going to be alright, and we're going to have a good time together. Just sit back and relax and, you know, let's just do this. So I care a lot when I can be on here and when I can post a video for you guys. Even before I made the video 2 years ago called Why Do YouTube Backstory. Like, even before that video, I've wanted to make this video. But I can say one thing. The past shaped me for who I am today. It's what made me Apocalypticnick. It's what made me inspired to be here today. I'm not going to say that I commend the people that did those things to me. I'm very upset that that happened, and I don't think anyone should ever go through that. No one should be harassed or bullied, because it can do a very bad toll on a person. But I think that if you guys are going through that, if there's anyone who might have stumbled across this video that genuinely thinks they are down on their luck, please stick with me. I want to make any day you have salvageable and bearable, so that when we go tomorrow and continue tomorrow, we can look at each day a little bit better. It's probably not the best speech in the world, but I just want to let you guys know I care. And I've always cared. And I've always cared about the support you guys have given me. Because at the time when I was going through those things, the biggest thing I was told was that I was not creative, and that I was an idiot, and that I was a waste of people's time. But 88 of you guys have showed me that I am not a waste of your time, and that you guys think I am creative enough to entertain you guys. And I want to say thank you. And I would like to return that favor and help all 88 of you and all others who are not part of this community yet, who've just stumbled across my videos. I want to help you guys. I want to help all of you. Because no one should have to feel like they don't mean anything. And no one should have to be sad every day. Let me be here for you guys. This video might be all over the place, and I might have not been the best at explaining everything, because I'm counting off my emotions, as you guys can tell. But it's something I wanted to say. This is a video I've wanted to make for a very long time. I might even remake it again, because there's so much about my past that have shaped my channel to what it is today that you guys definitely should know about. But for those of you who have stuck with this video, thank you guys so much. And I love you guys so much. So thank you for giving me your time and your ears to listen to this. I love every single one of you, and please guys, it will get better. Please be safe, and I hope I can see every single one of you again in my upcoming video. Bye guys.